we're studying Victoria. We're chosen for a year now. There's a boarding school there.
Yeah.
And that's where we all go. We're all at that school. I'm from Vancouver originally, though. I live in Vancouver. We're spending a week in Victoria trying to get this project done.
Sorry, what was your name again? I didn't catch it.
Moondog.
Can you tell us a bit about yourself? Introduce yourself. Who are you? Where are you from?
I lived here all of my life on the street. I was here when I was 5 years old.
Yeah.
So you don't know
5 years.
When I was 5 years old. 60. I come back on the street, still here. Somewheres I do have a little cave where I go to sleep. But I miss down here. I bought a building, well, not a building, but an apartment right down the street. I left it.
You left?
I left the house, the building, the apartment that I bought.
Okay.
I don't want to live there
Why's that?
because coming down there looking after a lot of people. The majorities are all gone. There.
Are you filming right now?
Yeah. You know, you hold the camera and then people just start talking to you.
Well, there you go.
Like, they have no respect, you know what I mean? Like, just look around, look at the garbage that's on the ground, all the junk paraphernalia on the ground, and they burn holes in bathrooms and trash places, and they just have no respect for other people around them. They just do whatever the fuck they want to do, and that's it. You know what I mean? And, you know, and then we're supposed to feel sorry for them?
I don't know. Opioids they're not going nowhere. They're not going nowhere. I don't think there be any way. It's up to the individual. And just like I said, you don't even have to fucking do the drug to do the drug. You could smoke crack, you could smoke meth, and never touch that down. But you could actually even die from that shit, man. It comes at you. If you eat weed and smokes, you gotta be careful, cautious. And when you smoke it, I don't know, this is what I noticed when I smoked it. It was too, it was like, and I OD'd on that shit. And I wasn't even smoking, I was smoking a different drug. I could taste it.
It's not like it's heroin and cocaine and it's fentanyl, which is like a pharmaceutically made drug that they make fentanyl illegal, but they don't make the chemicals that make it illegal. So you can order all the chemicals individually from China and then send it over here and make it yourself, which makes it 10 times worse and more dangerous, right? Like I've been a drug addict since I was 14, and I don't think drugs should be legalized. Like, think about how many people have OD'd, right? They don't even talk about it. It's still happening. They don't talk about it. Victoria is like, there's very little resources out here. Like, I was clean for 2 years. I relapsed on crystal meth, and I was partying. I forgot my methadone. So I was like, oh shit, I need to get my methadone. I went to the clinics, all the resource clinics they have down here for people to get on methadone and all that. And for 3 days, they gave me the runaround, told me, go see your doctor. I tell them, my doctor's off for 2 weeks. I need an emergency script. They pushed it to the point where I had no other choice but to do fentanyl. So they forced me right back into my addiction when I was clean 2 years. Like, and I'm still striving to be clean. I will be clean again.
For Victoria itself, it's the lack of resources where we can help people, like the detox beds, recovery places, access to them. A lot of times it's a few beds maybe up island or on the mainland or somewhere else. right? So the lack of resources to help people to get off of addiction or detox from addiction is very, I believe it is poor. It's slightly getting a little better, but it could be a lot more better considering the epidemic that we have here, right? With the addiction and the opiate crisis and the fentanyl and that, and whatever other drugs, benzodiazepines and the drugs now, so.
But even that is, when I was clean, I wasn't accepted in regular society. Like I'd walk into a store or a shopping center and people would still see that side of me. Like we go into a corner store and we're literally followed from the second we enter the store. And if we sit there and think, do I want a Coke or do I want a Crush? They're like, get out now.
Yeah.
What? What am I doing? You're going to Save on Foods? And they like, what do you want? What are you doing here? What do you want? What are you doing here? You use you can't even use bathrooms. There's 2 public bathrooms 24 hours in the whole city.
I think less stigmatization, having conversations.
Absolutely, less stigmatization. More understanding of addiction, not just looking at it as like, look at these people, they can't get their lives together. There's more to that. There's an underlying issue, right? And I've been around a long time, and I do believe it can be generational. We pass stuff on from our parents pass stuff on to their children, and to their children, to their children.
I see pain on the streets. I see a lot of war between amongst themselves. Like they use drugs as coping mechanisms to escape from their psychological pain or whatever they're feeling, trauma they have. Trauma affects people day-to-day life, so that's why they turn to the drugs. And they say weed is the gateway drug, and it's not weed, it's trauma.
Overdose, beating, rape. I couldn't do much because they're already gone. I tried to come back. Fuck. You know how much that fucking hurt. You know how much that hurts. Tell me about some of the story. Fucking fight. One day I hope you guys don't go through it.
With CJ, a gentleman who I spent quite a few hours with.
Without all your hate, you wouldn't even get me the energy I need.
Every time when things get tough, he has somebody like me that comes into his life and gives him a bit more hope. And he says it's simultaneously a blessing and a curse, because he explained very specifically that he's not suicidal, but there are days when he wishes that all of the people who look at him on the street with hatred and wish that he didn't exist, there are days that he wished that their wish would come true. I'm Darius, by the way.
Darius, my real name is Clarence, but I like to go by CJ. CJ, yeah.
I'm Bella. Nice to meet you, CJ.
CJ. Okay. Make sure I don't got pieces and shit, you know? Okay. I'm ready. I'm from Winnipeg, Manitoba, and I've been homeless for the past about 3.5 years, with a short stint of living with my father. I've always said that the less you have, the more you'll have to be grateful for. And is that ever true? You know, that is so true, because being homeless, you have to fight for everything. Everything. Homeless people steal off of other homeless people. Not only that, by law, the ones that are made to protect us, steal off homeless people, harass homeless people. The bylaw here in Victoria, BC is
These are like the police people.
yeah, well, it's right here. You can take a picture of their offices. It's right there, right? They tell us where we can be homeless, what times we're allowed to be homeless from and to, and if we are occupying an area that is not between 7 p.m. and 7 a.m., they will come and steal all of our belongings. Our tent, our bed, our everything.
Yeah.
They'll say they're impounding it, and never hits the impound. They don't write it down, nothing. They throw it all in the garbage.
Yeah.
I've seen it's so bad here that somebody will be ODing, and regular people will step over them or around them.
Yeah.
Is that a human being? You know, I always help everybody I could help. Like, if I could do it, I will. And they also know that if you fuck with me, like I'm not a small guy, you know, and I'll take care of my shit, right?
Yeah.
But as you guys can see, I have feelings.
Of course, everybody.
But is that true when you say everybody does? If they did, wouldn't they be helping us? I got a poem I'd like to share, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So it's off the top of my head, so I might not get it all exactly right. But it's something that's on my TikTok and shit. So, but it goes like this. It's a poem. It's called Drugs. Okay. Drugs have a bad name for those of us that may use. We're just trying to escape hurts from our past abuse. People are quick to judge, look and point their finger. Do not care about compassion or the pain for some that may linger. When we couldn't cope with the pain, we made a choice to turn to drugs. We just need a love and guidance to not become thugs. I'm leaving the island in a few days, and going back to Winnipeg where my daughters are, because there's stuff was going bad for me in Winnipeg. Like I said, I was homeless in Winnipeg before I came here. And my dad and my brother chose to fly me out here. When I got out here, I paid them back for the ticket that they bought for me. And after I paid them back, they kicked me out. Like, who does that? My dad said, I'll take care of you, you know? I got here, paid him back, kicked me out. So he brought me to a city halfway across the country where I don't know anybody and made me homeless where it's too expensive for a single person to get a place.
It's horrible.
You know, so now, after 2 years of this, I said, I've done enough here. I've talked to them enough. They know enough. It is now a conscious knowing choice for them.
What is one thing that you've learned today?
There's just a lot of really cool people who have been through a lot of shit. Like, that's kind of it. When I went to Solid, there were so many, like, people who were really willing to talk with me and joke with me, and even though I barely met them, it feels like sometimes it's very difficult to find a common ground, because I can recognize that if I'd been through the same stuff as a lot of individuals have been, I'd be a completely different person. But also, like, I feel like these, even just 2 or 3 different life-changing experiences can change your life so much and send you on such different paths that it might actually be very difficult to connect with people. And yet, at the same time, I think there really is a lot of commonalities between people. It's just, I feel like I don't really know what they are yet, and how to reduce my internalized stigma to an amount where I can connect authentically with people, like truly authentic.
Do you think you could do that right now or no?
I feel like I'm getting better at it. Maybe not entirely authentically. No, I don't know if that's true.
Why do you think everybody's hooked on painkillers? They're in pain, man.
Would you like to talk about your cat, Nix?
Spider?
Spider.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spider. He's a. I don't know what to say about him.
I don't know. Anything you want.
He's evil.
He's evil.
What kind of cat is he? a Manx cat. He's long enough for a tail.
Oh my god! He's so little! And he has a leash.
Spider.
Spider.
Aww.
I love that his paws are white.
Yeah.
My name's Liv. I'm 17, and I'm from Victoria. And yeah, this is my good buddy Maddie.
Good buddy.
I'm Maddie. I'm 18. I'm from Surrey. But I've lived in Victoria for 2 years.
I've been using opioids for 4 years now. 3 years, 4 years, 3.5 years now. And
I just didn't eat it, and I woke up and boxed.
I've been on and off the streets for 4 years.
Can't stay here. You gotta move on.
Okay.
All right.
Alright.
Have a good day.
Does this happen often?
Yeah.
Oh, well, no matter where you're sick. But the start of my addiction with like everything was probably like 10 to 12.
I don't know. My parents have been addicts my whole life, and I grew up in foster care. So, but when I moved to Victoria, I had just gotten on a youth agreement. Basically, when I moved back in with my parents when I was like 12 or 13, and they never got custody of me, so I've always been in government care. So they just, like, I needed to move out, and I couldn't, my social worker like wouldn't do anything about it. So my Indigenous worker got me to meet a youth advocate.
Social workers aren't very helpful in a sort of way, but a youth advocate will help you get the things you need. They actually like care kids. Yeah.
I was looking for places in like Surrey and Vancouver, but they just don't offer enough like support. Or I don't really know how to explain it, but I moved to Victoria because my older sister lived here. Yeah, I got this place in June, and then I went in over the summer. I was working for my band, so I was living up on the reserve with my auntie and uncle. During COVID, like, my parents were just going through a hard time. Like, me and my mom got in like a pretty bad car accident. Our like car got totaled, and my mom had to stop working and stuff. So my dad was just taking me. It's like a work program. I don't really know.
Day work. Day work?
Day work. So you go in and do random day jobs like labor. Because before he was working for
day labor.
Day labor. Before he was working for asbestos removal. I moved to Victoria in June, beginning June. And then in August, he was like getting off the bus from work, and he got like jumped by these 8 people, and he got stabbed like 16 times.
He got jumped in Victoria?
In Surrey.
In Surrey.
Like not even a block from our house.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So that's
My God.
It's like, it was hard though because I was alone. And like, when you're in Victoria and it happens at night, you have nowhere.
But you have family here?
Just my older sister. She moved here for university. We're getting closer. She's 7 years older than me.
Wow.
And she grew up with like my mom's parents, like grandparents, who are pretty well off. So we're very different. Like, I don't know, she's never dealt with like having to be around drugs or like be in those situations, I guess.
My mom's side of the family is very reserved and not like in the they don't really tell each other anything because and her dad's side, most of them are have been addicts for a while. So, like, yeah, they don't really get along, even though they're alcoholics themselves.
But they don't think they're alcoholics. Even though they've been drinking every day for like...
And I think that's so much better than using other stuff.
But my dad's side of the family, yeah, because they're like all on the reserve, and there's just like a lot of trauma throughout that side. Generational trauma, yeah. Yeah, all my dad's siblings, all of them are addicts or recovering addicts. Everyone on my reserve, basically. Yeah. Like, I think while I was living there over the summer, like, 4 people died of overdoses, like, on the reserve. Like, my uncle, he got kicked out of the house and was, like, living at the end of our reserve in a tent. He died in August, or at the end of August, like, just at the end of work. I guess he was in a truck, like, beside his tent. They were using, obviously, in the truck. My cousin, like, saw he was overdosing and didn't know what to do. Even though there was Narcan in that house beside them, and he could have just gone and knocked on the door, but he was scared, and, like...
That situation's very, like, panicky and...
Very difficult.
Freeze up.
And he wanted to stay with
Especially
him.
when it's someone...
Would you say you're pretty happy with where you are right now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Me
Graduating high school.
graduating, hopefully can get sober for the summer. Hopefully.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for after graduation?
I mean, I'm not sure. I don't think I want to go to school yet. If I do go to school. But I've been thinking I want to become a hairdresser.
Mm.
I'm not sure. Wow.
Aw.
Sorry. So I didn't even get to say bye, and she sent her off to Alberta. I was so mad.
Alberta, terrible place.
Someone's overdosing.
At my...
Actually?
That's our address.
That's Jewel.
Do you guys want to go?
Jewel?
You can go.
Sounds like it.
No, they're leaving. Someone just OD'd, I think. Someone just OD'd.
The
ambulance was for?
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go say goodbye to them. Because
Are they done with it?
I don't know.
So my name is Evan James, and I am the Manager of Training and Education with the Umbrella Society in Victoria. And I've been with the organization coming up to 10 years next month. I'm employed by Umbrella, and previous to that I was an Umbrella client as well who received services and help from them in my own personal journey. A hospital after an overdose, Umbrella came to see me in there and offered me support, and through my many attempts at getting clean and sober, they were always there to help me, to help navigate the system, to help me get to treatment, to get to detox, and lend that support along the way.
Okay, my name's Matt. I was born in Edmonton, but we moved to the island when I was like 2 months old, so I've been here my whole life.
Do you think the problem started with your motorcycle accident, which led to the fentanyl, or was there a problem before?
I always used some sort of substance over the years. Started out yearly, but the problem with opiates started with painkillers for sure.
When you decided to come to recovery, what led to that?
What led to that? It was life or death for me. I was either get clean or die at that point. I weighed like 98 pounds when I got to the hospital. Like I said, I had a fractured pelvis, fractured right heel, broken ribs, double pneumonia. I was like basically dead. If I had stayed out any longer or kept using, I would have died for sure.
When someone does have a relapse or does have a slip, it doesn't mean their journey's over, and it doesn't mean they're starting from scratch, right? I went to treatment, I relapsed after treatment, but I still use all those tools I learned in treatment today to stay sober. So the biggest difference, I think, the last time, my last kick at the can, when it actually stuck for me, was that I was willing to do, I was desperate, and I was willing to do whatever was suggested at the time. So before, I'd kind of pick and choose different things to try and to do, and I'd say, I don't want to do that, but I'll do this. And the last time, I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired, and so desperate for any relief from the horrors of the addiction I was living, that I was willing to try everything.
When that kid Mason saved my life over at the park over here, he could have let people rob me. He could have robbed me himself, but he Narcan'd me. Didn't know me from a hole in the ground. Found me overdosed in a park, and dragged me into a doorway, and went and got blankets and sat there with me all night and kept me alive. And I'd never met this kid before in my life, and he didn't take anything from me, and he made sure nobody robbed me. That still sticks with me to this day.
Roughly how old was he when he did this?
Mason's in his early 20s, so there's not too many people left out there like that. Most people would have probably just farmed me, took all my stuff, and let me die.
So when you met him again, like how did that feel?
It was awesome to see him again, and he's doing really good now. Yeah, he's still in the treatment center I went through.
Oh, another thing that we've heard from a lot of people was that it was hard to transition away from being like using substances, because while they were using, like their friend group kind of changed, and everyone around them was also.
You have to get rid of all your old friends, everybody.
Yeah.
You have to get to that point where you're done with anybody that's toxic in your life. You can't associate with old associates. You have to completely change your whole friend group. You have to basically change your entire life.
Was that very difficult for you, or did it feel like you were like starting new again?
Some of it was difficult, but I'm doing really well now. I had a choice. It's live or die. Those are my options. If I relapse again, I won't survive another relapse for sure. I don't have another one left in me. And I'm completely opiate free now. I'm not on methadone or Suboxone or anything. I'm 100% opiate free. So if I were to go even try a tiny bit of anything, it could kill me right away instantly. That's how a lot of addicts die. They get clean for 6 months or a year, and then they relapse, thinking they can use the same amount as they did before, and it only takes the tiniest little bit, and it kills them.
One big barrier that I faced that's not unique, that a lot of people face here, is that I had to leave Victoria to go to treatment. I had to go over to the mainland.
Oh.
And because there's a lack of treatment here, it's difficult having to leave. You know, so for example, what happened in my situation is I went to Surrey for treatment. And I did really well there, and I built up a huge support network. I had a sponsor, I had a good counselor there, I made a lot of friends, but I didn't want to live in Surrey. I wanted to come back to Victoria, so when I came back here, it was almost like starting from scratch, right? Because I didn't have that support network again, so I quickly isolated and fell back to what I was doing. So that was a barrier. There's just so many, right? Having substances be so readily available and everywhere you turn makes it extremely challenging. What we need here in Victoria especially are more recovery supports. I think we need more detox beds, we need more treatment beds, government funded beds with no wait lists.
When you sign up for like a wait list, and while you're on the wait list, do you receive any support?
So that's kind of where we come in. So we try and, we try and support people. If we do, like, if they get set up with outreach, we could do a treatment referral for them. Say it's 3 months till they get into treatment. We'd be supporting them along that path and helping them and meeting with them regularly, trying to keep them motivated, and offering support that way. But typically, no, when you're on a wait list, you're just waiting on a wait list.
We definitely need more detoxes, more detox centers for people. Sometimes there's up to a 6-week wait to get into a detox center.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I thought you could just go to rehab, but no.
No, there's huge wait. You have to go to detox first. You got to detox for up to 2 weeks, and then from there you can go to treatment after that. But there's huge wait lists. Pretty much for all of them, there's a wait list to get in, and in that time, it's pretty hard to get yourself out of the addiction while you're waiting.
I think there's this myth out there that the public generally think these people out there, if they wanted help, they can go get it. Right? They can go check into rehab the next day. It's not reality at all. We haven't seen any, I shouldn't say any, but we haven't seen the level of attention and support given to recovery options that we need to make a difference for people that want to make changes. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are struggling with substances, that are using, that we see out on the streets and that are dying, that do want to make changes, but they also know the reality of the situation. And they know how long wait lists are, and they know how difficult it is to get a bed and to get into these places. And we're not providing those options for them, which is the biggest issue right now, I believe. The stigma is that these people don't want help and they don't want to make changes around their substance use. And I think we're doing them a disservice often by just giving them drugs and letting them do what they do, right? I think, assuming that people don't want to make changes is not putting any faith in them or their abilities to make changes, right? Like we need to believe in them, and we need to talk to them and give them those options if they want to take them. Not everyone will, but I think the stigma is that people don't want to change that are out there, when I think the majority of them would if they had the realistic chance to do that.
Quite a few of us didn't make it. The people I went through with, almost lost a really good friend of mine just a little while ago. He got clean, and then he was clean for over a year, and he relapsed, and he wasn't found for like 15 hours. When they found him, rigor mortis had started to set in. He was dead, and they Narcaned him and brought him back, and now he's been in intensive care for a month. Yeah, he's got brain damage. He can't walk properly. His motor skills are all screwed up.
I know right now with your family, you're more present with them and they've been giving you more support, but was it difficult because you had a family of your own while you were using?
Oh yeah, for sure. I never wanted to see them to see me like that, so I disappeared all the time. My addiction kept me out and away from my family for many years, and I hurt them, so now I have a lot of making up to do.
You think not having your family around had a big impact on you?
Yeah, for sure. And you wake up every morning or you go to bed that night and say, I'm never doing this again, never. And then the next morning, the addiction takes over and the sickness takes over. And it comes to a point where you're wired. Eventually you have to use, or you're sicker than you could ever fucking imagine. I've only recently got into doing all that, but I like gold panning a lot. I like fishing a lot. Hunting, I've hunted off and on my whole life. And yeah, that's about it.
That's amazing. Oh yeah.
Oh, camping. Yeah. Something we're just learning to love more and more.
I'm going camping next week, next Tuesday or Wednesday, coming back Thursday.
What's your favorite camping spot?
I like Fort Renfrew. For me anyway, it's peaceful out there. I don't know, I find I'm calm when I'm like nature by myself.
Maybe 3 shots. 2. Simple. 1. 2. Oops. 3. I get 1 more shot.
Going into the week, I thought a lot about the physical risks, and I mean, that's kind of what's more obvious is okay, touching fentanyl, touching drugs, there's a chance for overdose, there's a chance for STIs. When you're hugging people and touching dirty things, there's a chance of touching needles and all of that. There's a chance of being mugged. All of those things are what people think about when you think you're going to engage with the unhoused community. But the aspect that I didn't think about so much was the mental side of things. When now I'm struggling a lot to filter all of the stuff that was said to me, because I spent a lot of time listening to people's stories, and it's hard to know what is actually the truth and what's a product of psychosis and substance use.
No, his name's Chris.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Chris.
And I do. Go ahead.
Okay, what up? I don't need this shit. Apparently my brother still needs it. My street brother.
I've had brothers like full-grown men like me come up to me and say, "Hey, I love what you're doing. They're in the same boat. And we need to stick together."
Yeah.
And yeah, the brotherhood is falling apart. The government is trying to force us all apart. They don't want us all as a group, our collective thinking anymore. They get us all apart. We're all thinking something different now, and we're now fighting for what we want now. But we're too far spread apart. None of us are tight together no more. Are you bleeding or is that canned?
Oh, this? Oh, this is henna. It's like, yeah, it's like kind of like semi-permanent.
Open up, you white so.
How do you like it?
I love it. It actually makes
I'm
me
a
feel
white
very
ass
positive.
motherfucker
It's
and I'm a
fading
native.
away right
Go
now.
You still have the six-pack. That's not a six-pack, that's fucking spare fat.
Turn around and get it.
In the old base hospital, which is
Go
now
over
Louis
it
Children's
and make another design and
Oh, that's true.
back in 1963.
But these are like last a week, and then like, you know, it's just like 1 week, and then I
Wood
can
hopper
this will
building.
last all my
Now
life.
look what it is.
That's a lion's head.
For women and children.
It's embedded in the bone.
Whoa.
See what that says?
Take a look.
Assault causing bodily harm.
Assault causing bodily
What
harm. What is this called? This is like
There,
a more
it's a lion's
Yeah,
head.
it's a fucking undertaker
There's
by the
his
chief.
mane,
Okay,
his
there we
hair,
go.
there's his nose.
Oh, I see it.
Want to take his picture? Go right ahead.
What is this?
Yeah.
Yeah?
This is an undertaking by the
61-year-old man beat up a 45-year-old heroin victim.
It's hard to keep in contact with someone who's on the street if you're not also there, I think. And I feel like that's one of the biggest challenges that I really didn't anticipate that would be this big of a challenge.
Lost a lot of friends. Just over the years, people are dying. I have a lot of friends. I'm fortunate that way, musicians and stuff. People dying everywhere. It really started getting to me. I was living down near Rock Bay area and walking my dogs at night and coming across people overdosing.
So you guys are testing drugs?
We don't test the drugs here. We have a facility on Cook Street that tests the drugs. This is a drop-in center. This is basically a place where we let people gather so they're not on the streets.
I think like Ben is missing to like help most that like programs and like funding. Is that would make
All of it, everything's missing. There's the only people that are helping are people like us and the small organizations, and we're all fighting over the same grants, all trying to get the same contracts. There's no, so we get people in treatment, we get them in detox, and we're lucky we get them out into detox and lined up into treatment a couple days afterwards, so they're not back down here. But they go into treatment for 3 weeks, they come out, they look great, they're clean as a whistle. They got nowhere to fucking go. Where do you go? Where your friends are. How long do you think you're going to last before you start using again? 2, 3 days, if you're lucky. There's no really affordable housing, and there's a big barrier. There's supportive housing for people that really need supportive houses, and then there's no middle ground. There's no like just cheap places somebody can rent.
Overdose, beating, rape.
Like it's people living on the streets, like slowly dying, you know? And people just see it as like, what do we put in place?
How do we clean up our streets?
How do we keep them off of our streets?
Yeah.
How do we keep them out of our shops? And like, you know, how do we keep them out of our sight?
When we started Hearth, I didn't really think this is where we would end up. And I was just so uninformed about the general crisis even when we started. And I feel like I still am uninformed in many senses. But I feel like I never would have imagined where I am now just due to a lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
Not at all. I was a completely different person.
Yeah, people made poor choices, and they are where they are now, but you can't just write them off. Like, they're still human beings. They're somebody's father, somebody's daughter, somebody's son.
In my scene, there's amazing people. Straight up, great people.
Do you remember what like your first experience administering naloxone was like?
Scary.
Like, when you have to do it, I was by myself. The first time I had to do it, like I was trained with a room full of people, but it's a lot different out in the wild. And it was dark, it was scary, but I just relied on what I learned, and it worked.
That's it. That's all. That's incredible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your opinion.
Thank you so much, Brian.
welcome, guys. No problem.
Thank you.
You guys, this is really, really helpful.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, I talk too much.
No, we love it.
Oh, that was really
You'll like edit it.
Yeah. And then I'll send it to you guys if you don't mind after I finish.
Watch the documentary.
Oh, yeah.